We just spent the last month living in San Francisco as digital nomads, and we are here to give you our honest review on what it is really like.
If you do not know our story, we are digital nomads who set out to explore 8 of the most iconic North American cities to find out what it is really like to live there. We started our journey in Toronto, Canada, then we went to New York, then down to Miami, over to Atlanta, then hopped to Denver, then to San Diego, and we are finishing our final and last stop here in San Francisco.
To rate good old San Francisco, we are going to be basing it off of 4 categories: things to do, food, cost of living, and atmosphere.
In each category, we're going to share our must-do and talk about our experiences so you know what to do and what not to do when you come here. So for our first category, we have things to do. It is really challenging for cities to stand out alone in the things to do inside of the city, as there's a lot of the same things to do in every city, like eating and drinking and just going out and having fun. Don't get me wrong, we love our big cities, but the outdoors and accessibility to nature is a huge part in whether or not a city is good or bad to us. With that being said, San Francisco does have a lot of things to do inside the city, so we wanted to share some of our touristy and non-touristy must-do activities so you can make the most out of your time here. Some of the touristy things you've got to do while you're in San Francisco is obviously see the Golden Gate Bridge from either Christie Fields or the Golden Gate Overlook in the Presidio. You definitely got to stop by Golden Gate Park. This is like the Central Park of New York, but in San Francisco. It's got buffaloes, it's got a windmill like you would see in the Netherlands, it's even got a Japanese garden. The place is incredible. And you gotta stop by as many of the unique neighborhoods here as you can. You definitely will not get bored. They all have a different vibe and feel, and you'll have plenty of things to do all the time. Some of the lesser known things I would definitely recommend while you spend your time here is stopping by Twin Peaks. It's got a crazy beautiful view of the skyline, probably one of the best views in all of San Francisco. Coming to the Palace of Fine Arts here behind me, a beautiful place to walk around and enjoy the day. Go to the Salesforce Park on top of the Salesforce building. Just beautiful, it's so cool.
But outside the city is what really differentiates it from other big cities we went to, like New York. Quickly leaving the city, you have easy access to nature with some of the most beautiful landscapes you could find. You can take a drive down this stunning PCH down to Big Sur. You can go across the bridge into Napa, wine tasting, go to Artesa and Migration. Those were our 2 favorites. You can head up to Point Reyes for an epic view of rolling farmlands and a beautiful coastline. And you can even take one of the most beautiful hikes that's just 30 minutes away from San Francisco up to Mount Tamalpais. up to Mount Tamalpais, aka Mount Tam, because nobody can actually say that name, for one of the most epic sunsets that you will probably ever see here. And if you're feeling extra adventurous, there are actually 11 national parks within a 6-hour drive of San Francisco, which is insane. And you can even go skiing at some of the best resorts the US has to offer in Lake Tahoe. Okay, we're now realizing there's a lot to do here, and we didn't even include that there are like 3 other kind of major cities near here: Oakland, Palo Alto, and San Jose, all big tech hubs and all have other cool unique things to do too. Alright, taking all of that into account, we give things to do in San Francisco a 9 out of 10.
So honestly, San Francisco's got basically everything you can want to do here. The really only bummer is the fact that there's hundreds of miles of coastline, but only some of the beach is actually usable. It's really windy, really cold most every day of the year here. So, and the water's freezing.
Yeah,
you don't want to get in there.
Yeah, beach days aren't really like a point here. If you know us, then you know that food is one of the most important things about a place. We are huge foodies, and we love to eat out, and we love our sweets. Since it's such an important category, we will be breaking it down into 3 subcategories. The first is food quality, aka how good is the food. Second is diversity, aka how easy is it to find different cultures other than just the standards. And number 3 is sweets, just, you know, how good sweets are. The San Francisco food scene had been hyped up a lot before we got here, and I'm happy to report that it actually lived up to the hype. We had some insanely quality meals. Some of our favorites were wabi-sabi sushi, that yellowtail tamachi roll is so fucking good. Tony's Pizza had some of the best pizza we've ever had. We're talking, it won the best pizza in Naples. Like, so good. Farmhouse Thai, also incredibly quality food. And you can't forget Luca's Deli. That was like one of the most bussin' sandwiches I have ever had in my entire life. I will say these really good places come with a line, but it's usually worth it.
So the diversity of foods, in my opinion, is where San Francisco really shines in the food category. You can tell that it's truly a melting pot of cultures with its outrageous combinations of foods here. I'm talking, we had ramen burgers, birria ramen, we had mochi donuts, all things I would never thought I would see together, but we're unequivocally bussin'. Also, every Friday there is this food truck festival down by Fort Mason, and there was only like 2 standard options. I'm talking standard options as in like burgers, chicken, things like that. No, they had West African food, they had these crazy Tibetan momos, you gotta have them, and literally everything else under the sun that I really never even thought was an option.
And finally, we have the sweets. So we love our sweets, and unfortunately we were just a little bit disappointed in San Francisco's sweet. They definitely weren't bad by any means, but they didn't necessarily like blow us away either. We did have quite a few good ones. Bob's Donuts is a must-do. They're open 24 hours. Their donuts are super good. These Mochil donuts, weirdly good. I enjoyed them. For ice cream, which is probably my favorite sweet, I really enjoyed Lush Gelato. Their gelato was so fresh. The mint ice cream I had literally tasted like a mint leaf, which was like wild. And also Humphrey's Slocum. I don't really know if that's how you say it, but their ice cream was really fucking good. Alright, so taking all of that into consideration, diversity of foods easily gets a 10 out of 10. Quality of food, we were gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10, and sweets, we're sadly giving a 7 out of 10.
So all that totals up for our final score for food category as 8.5 out of 10. So like we said here, the diversity of food is just top notch, truly unmatched, but the sweets just brought it down a little bit. For that reason, it only gets an 8.5 out of 10. What the fuck? So for that reason, it only gets an 8 point. Okay, stop. Still so rude. So for that reason, it only gets an 8.5 out of 10. But still, that's a great score, just a little bit lower than it was in San Diego. So now it's time for one of the more painful categories, and that is cost of living. San Francisco is rated #1 most expensive city for a reason. It costs a lot just to live here, let alone even do anything with your life.
So our biggest expense for the month by far was on housing, and we spent a whopping $3,200 on a 1-bedroom apartment. It was relatively spacious, like more than like probably other places in San Francisco and also some of the other places we had rented in other cities, but it was super, super old, like
crusty.
A little crusty.
Crusty.
It was a decent location. It was in Nob Hill, so like it was okay, but we couldn't really walk to like some of the other attractions that we wanted to walk to. We had to take public transit. So overall, was not really worth $3,200, but that was pretty much the cheapest we could find on Airbnb for the month.
So the next part of the cost of living category is the food, and we went out a lot. San Francisco, like we said before, is known for its food. It had some absolutely bussin' food, and we wanted to just try it all. We could not contain ourselves. But with that being said, it's also really hard to go to any restaurant there and walk out with spending less than $50 to $60 for both of us to eat. So that's really challenging to do. Even the like hole-in-the-wall pizza spot we found like 2 a.m. was charging $6 a slice, which is ridiculous for some mediocre pizza.
Wild. The next biggest cost that we actually had not really considered, and maybe that's on us, but you know, whatever, is parking. We spent an extra $450 for parking that we weren't thinking we were gonna have to spend, and that was pretty painful.
So outside the actual living part of the cost of living, it really isn't that bad here. You can do a lot of things for free, a lot of the outdoor activities you can do for free. The public transportation, like the buses, were only $3, which really no one was checking, so just hop on for free. San Francisco, I didn't say that. And the rest of it, everything we basically did was mostly free. So a lot of free, good activities to do, a lot of good sightseeing, a lot of good walking around, which is free, but the cost of living, God bless our souls.
The other thing I will say is that if you want to like get out of the city, like go over either like the Golden Gate Bridge or the other bridge.
I forgot what that's called, but that bridge.
Whatever, the other bridge, they are toll bridges, so it's gonna cost you $9 every time you go over the Golden Gate Bridge. So taking all of our costs into consideration, we give San Francisco a 2.5 out of 10. Yeah, it's definitely our most expensive city by far. I thought our most expensive was gonna be New York, but it was definitely San Francisco. For the fourth and final category, we have the atmosphere. This is basically the vibe, the energy, the feeling that the city gives you, and how beautiful it is. The atmosphere here in San Francisco is interesting, to say the least. First off, the city is beautiful, no doubt about it. Colors of all the houses, the Victorian architecture, the hills with these stunning views of the city and the bay is all just so stunning. Additionally, San Francisco has more distinct and unique neighborhoods than any place I've ever seen, and I love it. Each one you go to is completely different from the next. From Haight-Ashbury to the Marina to Chinatown, Japantown, they're all just completely different, and it's so, so cool. It's literally like you're in a different city from neighborhood to neighborhood. Lastly, we love that everyone is accepted here. There's so many different cultures, sexual orientations, types of people, and literally everyone is just able to be themselves and express themselves, and we think that is so, so cool.
We're just trying to film this video, and these fucking birds are just losing their minds. Get it together.
The other thing I really like about it here is that there are so many dogs. Like, for a big ass city, like, everybody here has a dog, especially corgis. I've never seen so many corgis, and it's just so nice because I love them. That's all. As soon as I said that, a corgi walked by.
Aren't you?
Can we get one?
No way. Now it's for the bad parts of San Francisco. So first off, everywhere you go here, it just weirdly smells like pee, and you're constantly at the lookout for just poop on the ground. And I'm honestly not sure if it's humans or dogs, but the amount of times I've had to dodge poop is just truly not real. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Secondly, petty crime is not illegal here, so car break-ins are pretty rampant and likely to happen, especially if you have out-of-state tags. So that's why we had to pay $450 to park in a parking garage. With that, I also saw a lot of drug usage on the street, just out in the open. Like, I'm a firm believer that everyone should be able to do whatever they want, whenever they want, but I should not be walking to get coffee and seeing someone smoke crack and pee at the same time in the corner. Like, that shouldn't be happening.
Oh, I love crack.
And with that, crime overall in the city is just pretty high, so there's definitely some times that I felt a little unsafe, and I didn't love the fact that Michaela had to walk around alone sometimes. Lastly, the homeless problem here is honestly just really sad. It really takes away from the beauty of the city. It's really some of the worst that we've seen from all of our travels so far. So I understand it's a pretty complex issue. There's a lot of facets to the problem, but really it should not be this bad anywhere in the world. I don't feel as though people should be living in these conditions.
Yeah, unfortunately, this has been probably the city that I felt the most unsafe in. Even worse than like New York. I've stayed alone in both here in New York, and I felt the most unsafe here, which was really shocking and a little bit sad to me. So just keep that in mind if you're a woman and you will be staying alone. Taking all that into account, we give the atmosphere of San Francisco a 7.5 out of 10.
So San Francisco is truly a beautiful city. The skyline is just stunning, but the petty crime here, the weird smells, and just the overall homeless problem brings down the atmosphere just a little bit. So sadly, we only give it a 7.5 out of 10. So now that we've covered all the things to do in San Francisco, the food, the cost of living, and the overall atmosphere, it's time for what you've been waiting for. What is our overall rating for the city of San Francisco should you come here and be digital nomads and do the exact same thing? Our final rating is
6.8.
Ooh, it's all right. You know, honestly, there's a lot of great highlights that brings the score up, and that's the things to do in the food here. There is so many great activities. You can do just about everything, and a lot of it is free, which is a bonus, and the food is just top notch. You can have literally anything you ever imagined, and that is awesome. Especially as foodies, that is awesome.
Heck yeah.
Cost of living though, God bless San Francisco. Y'all gotta figure it out. That shit ain't right. Secondly, the atmosphere, while it is just like one of the most beautiful cities by far, so awesome. All that have different neighborhoods are just so cool. Just like the overall homeless problem, the feeling of just being slightly unsafe at all times, and just like the weird smells and stuff. I just really can't get past, and it's just something I don't necessarily enjoy in my day-to-day.
Unfortunately, I didn't like it as much as I was kind of expecting to like it. But I feel like that sometimes. I think it's a really cool place to visit, stay for a little while, but personally I would not live there for longer than a month.
But with that, that's all we got for you today on this San Francisco review video. We hope you liked what you saw today. If you're interested in any other cities we explored, go ahead and check them out on our channel. We got 7 other reviews of cities we went to as digital nomads, so check them out. If you like this video, you already know what to do. Smash that like button. Drop us a comment letting us know if you're gonna come here and check it out for yourself. And as always, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you get a reminder every single time we post. FTX out.